There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, your host, and today is June 17th, 2022. The COVID has passed significantly, so we're back in the studio, and I hope you enjoyed today's program. I am so delighted to welcome my friend and local artist extraordinaire, Allison Krajcik, who has, in the last year, 2 years, has won 13 awards for her work. 13 awards, and she didn't bring one of them, but she's brought, because she's a modest woman, but she brought examples of her paintings. So you can see them here. The one at the base of the table is a pastel, and it happens to belong to me. And this one is an oil, and it also belongs to me. Both paintings are of Cheap Pasture, but this one is very special to me because it's the pathway at the Maple Street extension off Seaver Street. I live at the end of Seaver, where as a child I used to take this path and go down to Sheep Pasture and visit my cousin Brenda, whose father lived at the Clock Barn and was the head herdsman for the Ameses. And we would get up in the hayloft and jump off into the hay. But this is the path that I remember so well. So, Allison, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is fun.
Yeah. And Allison, tell us a little bit how years ago, you had training, right? And how did you get started painting?
Basically, I went to school. I went to art school. I went to Southeastern Massachusetts University when UMass Amherst used to be called that, down in Dartmouth. And I actually went for illustration. So it wasn't the fine art field, it was really a commercial field. But you take it's a bachelor's degree, so you take a wide variety of classes. And I left with my degree, and I actually didn't do a whole lot with it. I didn't reach out for the help that you needed to really make a career of it. There were turning points in my life then that I just didn't see a solid path. I ended up doing a little bit of stained glass. I got married, I had 2 children. I was able to stay home with them, that was wonderful. So I picked up a watercolor brush and I did some drawing and like that. And I was quite active, and it suited our lifestyle because I had 2 young kids and I could do that when they finally got into school and things like that. And I did that for probably 10 years or so, and then I hit the wall with composition. It just wasn't improving, wasn't progressing, and now we have, instruction online. Everyone teaches except me this, and so I left the field, and I left the field because of frustration. But my good friend and cousin invited me to form a business with her. And so I became a color consultant because I had learned so much about color and how it affects a home, which side. And first question I will ask a client is, what side of the house does the sun come up on? And many can answer it, but many cannot. So that influences that. And that is there are interior decorators that do color consulting, but they don't paint, and that's the difference. I think when you know it intimately and you see how light affects an object and the color of that object, you understand how it's working in the home too. And it was a eureka for me because I had painted my kitchen. I want to say it was a Sherwin-Williams garden sage or something. And I was standing in my back hallway and I looked up at my front door. And I said, why do I love it in my kitchen and I can't stand it in my hallway? My hallway faces east. It was late in the day, so now it's getting that blue light. North and east light is very blue. Shadows on snow are blue, purple, pink. If you've ever seen that in the wintertime, look at paintings and you'll see that. And I thought, why? Well, my kitchen is southern and western exposed. And all that beautiful warm sunlight from the afternoon was coming in my kitchen, and I loved it. And I hated it in my hallway. And that was when I began to understand how light in the home, natural light and artificial light, can affect how you choose color. So I did my own. I mean, I've always painted my interior and all of that. So it was years of just kind of combining the two things. Mm-hmm. And then the same way you compose a painting, a painter in many ways tries to get you to focus on what they want you to look at. They mm-hmm. want you to discover what they've discovered. That's one form of painting. Mm-hmm. It's the same as an interior. Mm-hmm. What do I want you to look at when you come in my home? I don't want you to see the mess on my table. I want you to look at, and so they fit together very, very well.
This is exciting. You have a new a chapter in your life. Mm-hmm. You're on a new journey, and this has brought so many awards. Yeah. You said 8 last year and 5 this year.
Something like that.
And it's only May.
Well, it's the big show season for pastels are really like early May through October. Uh-huh. So you get a little dry at the end of winter. You need some more inspiration. You know, you should paint all year long, and I do. But the weather pulls me outside because I do a lot of plein air painting. I've always have.
Yes.
You have to paint from life. Cameras will guide you if there's information you're looking for, but how you react to a scene, what it is you see that interests you will never be in a picture. It's
right.
just dead.
So it's called plein air.
Yes, it is.
And you're outside. Yeah. So when you painted both of the ones that I have, you were outside.
Especially the little oil. The bigger one is a studio piece, but it came from a plein air piece. That was outside. Yes,
that was outside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I know just where you were standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's beautiful. I love it. It reminds me so much of my childhood. You know?
Sometimes a lot of my plein air pieces don't get framed and sold because there is information in them that I see that I don't want to lose. I will use that study and I go to the same places many times throughout the year.
Oh, okay.
It's never the same. I mean, there are places in Jamestown at Beavertail. There's little places along the coastline in Newport. I'll spend. It's usually late afternoon as the light is the prettiest, and it gets to be a particular hour of the day, and you have to shift with the change in the time, but it'll glow, and so. But it's never the same. The surf can be different. The tide is different. You know, the scene or where I sit or how I compose it is different. So it never hurts to go back to the same place again and again and again. I have a couple of paintings here that are from the same place, and you'll see the different compositions.
Okay, let's take a look.
This is going to be in a show this summer. They're going to use this one. It's called Funneled,
and that's the one to Allison's left.
And that one's going to be down the Cape at the Pastel Painters of Cape Cod.
And that is, you're a member of that association?
That is a society, and it is, I am a member, I'm a signature member. So you're juried in, takes a fair amount of work to show you have a body of work, and then people in the organization say you're worthy, and you get to be a signature member. And I just achieved that last year. So this one is the same place, but a different composition. Mm. And I will emphasize different parts of it. So, the first one obviously called Funneled, it's because the water just swirled down into this hole. And in this one, it's called Aperture. And so it's more about what's happening through that keyhole that was important to me. So you can go back to the same places again and again and again, and be inspired. In April, when there is nothing, the light is high, high, high in the sky. It keeps climbing, and it washes out our forest floor. So there's not a lot of shadow, and I love contrast. I love that. It's how I work composition. I like a lot of contrast, high highlights and dark darks. But one of the places that you can go when the weather starts to get better, before anything's really blooming even, is I spent a lot of time up at Borderland. And a few of the rock formations that are up there, this one was just entered into the Pastel Society of America. And it's a rock formation. It's split rock. Oh. And that is a huge, huge, massive rock. And
where is it located?
It's on the back side of the park. So if you park at the main entrance and you take that left-hand path, I want to say it's Granite Hills, you'll find Split Rock Path off of that.
Oh, Split Rock Path.
Yeah, Split Rock. And you can come in off of Massapog Ave as well.
Okay.
You can park there. I think I have about a 25-pound pack by the time I load everything up. And so I try to find the shortest path to those destinations that I can.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But that was an on-site piece as well. And it's just when the light turns on the rock. In the summertime, you can't go up there. It's just that there's too much shadowing, changing across the face of the rock to really get anything to stay put for a while. So in the spring, we've still got bare trees, the leaf canopy's not in, and I can do that. So that's one of my resources for spring painting. And then, so I'm going to talk a little bit about, so this is a floral. I just put this on Instagram. This was a gift. Somebody gave me these roses. It was not my husband. It was a friend that I volunteer with.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And this is an on-site piece. I have to sit in the front of my yard because the light that I'm looking for is anywhere from 4 o'clock on. And the shadow from my house pushes me forward. My studio's over the garage behind the house.
Right.
And I have 100-foot pine trees, so I don't get a lot of sunlight in my studio. And I have 2 skylights, but they just won't give me what I need. So I basically, if anybody drives by Center Street, they'll see this person sitting in the front yard. And I often set up a still life and paint with natural lighting.
That's beautiful.
So, but see, this is a composed.
So are you selling that?
Eventually. That one also got I just entered that into the Pastel Society of America too.
Oh, okay.
So you enter several pieces, they'll choose one hopefully.
Right.
They don't always. I've been lucky to be in it twice in a row. This is a composed piece. I just finished this one. And
oh my God, that is gorgeous.
I'm going to enter this in a show this week.
Beautiful.
The deadline's Monday. So, but the peonies were fabulous this year. And they're a week. I call it Peony Week. I've got 1 week to do it. I'll hold that up for a little longer. It's a week, and it is a fast week. And if we get rain, they've got their faces in the dirt.
Right.
And you just cry, Yeah. But I clip as many as I can, and I bring them in, and again, it's running up and down my front yard to try to set them up and paint them. And I think I did maybe 8 studies of them this week. So, keeps me busy. And I can do it around client appointments, and I can still do all of that. So it's
so when is the jury?
So the jury chose this particular one that so I've entered several. I entered a juried show at Duxbury, and it was called Wedged, and that one's, I think it was 3rd place, 2nd or 3rd place. Then I entered, trying to think the order, North River Arts. That show is still up, and I won. I can't remember. It's good. It's all good. I'm winning. I'm not just getting in, but they're juried shows, so I'm getting in, but I'm also getting awards. So it's
so exciting.
It's really fun. And I feel like I get a second shot at it because you know, I don't regret the 15 years I spent away because I learned so much. I'm in a different place now. I'm grateful. You know, it takes time to go back. And like I say, there's so much online, but COVID opened the door. You know, when you're meeting people in their homes and nobody's going anywhere, I had a good 9 months to really get back into it. So the first thing I did was pick up my stuff and go out the door. And I don't know that I would have jumped in like I have. And so basically what happened was the business fell off enough so that I could really move this in. And so I've been able to balance both because my husband does everything else at home. So the tables have turned. And,
so he's been retired now for a couple of years.
He's been, I want to say it was 6 years now.
No, really?
I think so. I don't know. I don't count.
And do you mind if I disclose who your husband is?
No, you can. Absolutely.
Okay,
If people don't already know.
Married to the former chief of police in Easton, Allison Krajcik. And he is a wonderful person. He's generous of spirit, very calm personality. I've never seen him get excited. I mean, raise his voice or get angry or anything. I mean, he's just such a pleasant guy. And I've known him since he was a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
you've known him longer than I have.
I know. Because we grew up in the same church, the Holy Trinity Lutheran on Lincoln Street, and now he's president of the council and doing a fabulous job.
Oh, that's very nice. He'll be happy to hear you say that.
He's the perfect person in that job. So he's the chief cook and bottle washer too.
He is. He loves to do errands. I hate to do errands. I would stay home with the kids and he'd go get groceries. I just hate running around. But I will clean things and put, you know, I'm very much a homebody. I run a tight ship. And that has changed in that, you know, he really does. He works a few road jobs here and there, but he does most of the cooking. He does all of the grocery shopping. And then, you know, we travel together. So if I want to go to, say, Sechusett Point down in Newport and paint, I've been there for the day on my own, but we will plan it because I like the light at the end of the day. We'll plan it so that we get down there for, say, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. He'll take his bike and go for a ride, you know, an hour-and-a-half ride. I'll set up to paint. He has dropped me at the end of the cliff walk, not off the edge, but at the end. And I've gone to paint, and you know, we'll text, I'm almost done, and he'll go park the car somewhere, and then go for a nice long walk, and then we'll meet up and go out for a bite to eat. So it suits our lifestyle. It's
well, I've seen you out walking too.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk a lot together.
We do. Yeah, we walk a lot. I mean, that started in COVID too. We did all the 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. So we hiked all of those. That was a good goal. But we're a little older now, achier. So.
Well, you certainly don't look older.
You're kind.
You have that young, magnificent look.
So kind.
And anyway, so what else do you have? Anything?
So this one's interesting in that there's something called, because I had such struggles with composition, I took an online course last year, and it was a color harmony course. I didn't really participate in the group. You know, I looked at the videos, I sucked all that information in, but it was a color harmony course in oil with Skip Whitcomb. And he would do these side bits, like these 20-minute, 15, 20-minute, half-hour additional content pieces. And one of them was on simultaneous contrast. Dynamic symmetry. And I was like, what the heck is that? So there's a lot of different ways to get to it, but basically this painting was rejected several times from shows. And I knew there was something wrong with it, but I didn't know what. So I let it sit in the studio for a while. I just took it back out, and I applied this dynamic symmetry to it. And basically, it is a grid system. So I'll show it to you with the paper on it first. But it's basically a grid system.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on, some people do composition by thirds. They cut the canvas into thirds, and they put the focal point in one of those 4 spots. There are a couple of other easy ways to do things like that. This is much more involved. So it has to do with all of the angles and where everything intersects. And so that's what I did. I was having trouble. I don't usually do it this big, but this was the piece I had started. And mind you, when I painted years ago, like that pastel that you have there, that particular piece is on a piece of paper that if you don't get it right the first time, you're throwing the paper out. It's not resilient. I can wash this paper off completely and start over. So the materials have improved. The ability to gain information and be taught is everywhere now. Just following people on Instagram is a blast because you see someone whose work you love, and there's always someone new that you just want to follow, and it's exciting to see where they're teaching or what their workshops they're doing, or
So you're constantly learning.
Constantly now.
So let's see this.
So the marks you see now are where I pushed the composition to, and
oh my God,
that's what I ended up with.
Wow.
So,
is that in Newport?
This is Newport, yes.
Yeah.
In fact,
look at that.
That's Jamestown. This is Newport. These are not in the same spot. This is across from Brayton Point, where they fly the kites.
Okay.
And we kind of have to scramble down a hillside, and it's a little dangerous in some spots, but and it's just a spot that I love because not everybody, I don't love an audience when I paint.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get away, and I like to tuck
Be
myself
unseen.
in. Yeah. Because you know that the people standing behind you are judging.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you don't know why, you don't know what I'm after. I may
Right.
just want to get the color notes. I
Yeah.
just want to know the color of the water.
Yeah.
And to grab that while I can. So it was worth putting it back on, putting
Sure.
the glycine over it and being able to.
So how many sessions did it take for you?
This is hours because I completely scraped out this whole front section like twice. Patience.
Yes.
I didn't think I had any.
Yeah.
But they don't go bad. You just tuck it over in a corner, and when you're revived or when you've done other paintings of that type, you've learned more. You come back to it and you say, well, I could bring that to it this time. I could try this time.
So is this complete?
This is complete.
And are you entering it?
I will enter this summer, yeah.
Oh,
I will enter this probably Monday. I'll enter it with the floral.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to do several different.
And this one, why don't you tell us a little bit about this one?
So that's an on-site piece as well. This is a studio piece, just like the flowers were. But this is an on-site piece. This is down at Setchusett Point. That's a beautiful wildlife preserve.
Where is that?
It's at the end. It's kind of at the corner of Third Beach in Newport, and I want to say it's is it 114 or 14? 114 that the route that goes down to Portsmouth. There's when you see the sign that says Middletown, and beside that, anybody's GPS will get them there. But it's a beautiful. You can't take dogs there. It's actually quite a large preserve.
And what's it called?
It's called Setchusett.
Setchusett.
Sachusset. Setchusett, just as it sounds. And I'm a very creative speller, which gets me into trouble. But it's a beautiful spot. It's a super rocky coastline. There is one section, it feels like you're in Maine. And the precipice of this one particular part of the rock, I would estimate it's 50 feet above the water.
Wow.
Yeah, and the surf was crashing this day, and it was just, I had a video where a bird actually flew through because it got roasted, by the surf. It's just, and you can find little nooks and crannies, and
Yeah. And this one is so alive. Now this is pastel, right?
This is pastel.
Yeah.
We don't frame them with the mats anymore. We're trying to, I guess there's sort of a movement to make them a little bit, to make people aware that they are true paintings, just like an oil painting.
Right.
And so they're a little bit fragile because of the nature of them, but once they're framed, you're good to go.
Now, mine is...
That has a mat.
Has a mat, yeah.
But that was, what, 15, 20 years ago? So, yeah. But, yeah, onward, right?
Yeah.
Onward.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. So what are your plans now? Do you have any plans that, new plans?
I'd like to get back into oil. I don't, when I'm in the high season of entering shows and running around, it's too much for me to try to do both. You know, the course I took was a lot of color chart work, and I just don't have the time to. I'm not young. I'm not 20, and I don't have time to really do, you know, hours and hours and hours of that. I still have my business, and this is a part of it. So
sure, but wouldn't oils be appropriate for winter?
Not
when
necessarily.
When you're not going to be able to be outside.
No, I can be outside with these.
Can?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I can stay outside as long as things don't get wet.
Oh yeah.
At least with oil, you can paint in the rain and the snow. But oil is, you know, the apparatus to carry oil is a bit heavier.
Yeah.
And it's also a wasteful thing. If I'm not painting continuously, I feel as though I'm wasting that paint. So when I'm in the high season of summer, it's best if I just stick with pastel right now.
Sure.
But this winter, I'll probably pull some out. I'd like to do a little bit more studio work with that. So we'll see.
So now tell me, our audience might be interested in seeing your work and those that you're offering for sale. So do you have a website?
I have a website. I have a new website, but the best thing to do is to go to my Turning Point website, which is turningpointredesign.com.
Turningpointredesign.com.
Yep.
That's one word, turningpointredesign.com.
You can also follow me on Instagram, which is Color Whisperer with the number 1.
No.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep.
Color Whisperer number 1.
Somebody help me with that. And of course, there's email. Email is info@turningpointredesign.
Info@Turning Point.
Yep.
Redesign.
So it's all streamlined. It's easy.
Yes.
And the reason we named the business Turning Point is because people have many turning points in their lives, and working with people in their home, it's usually when they come to a turning point that they're doing work in their home. They've had a job change, they've had a baby, they've retired, they've come into money, they're going to make a change, but it's often those changes, and so we called it it's a turning point. And I kept it because it is so fitting. Nobody stays in one place.
Right.
Everybody's got things that are shifting their lives. So.
Well, Allison, you are so full of so much information, and you describe your work beautifully, and I'm sure that our viewers are going to look forward to going to my Turning Point. No, Turning Point.
Turning Point Redesign.
Turningpointredesign.com. Okay, so go there, check her out.
Email me,
and
contact me.
Right, and her paintings are wonderful gifts for people that you love.
And if somebody wants to sign up on the newsletter, I don't send that out. I'm not a pest. In fact, I should use it more than I do. But contact me through email, sign up for the newsletter. I do try to combine news of both the business and...
so that would be info@turningpointredesign.com.
Yep.
Okay. Are we all together on this? Do we have the information? Yes, we do. Are we excited? Absolutely. It is wonderful. Paintings bring such joy into our lives, don't they?
They do.
Yeah. And when you find the one that's right for you, that's a great moment. So thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you, Priscilla. It was a pleasure, as it always is.
Wasn't she good? I mean, and we really appreciate all that you do. And I know that painting isn't the only thing. I know that you donate time at a food pantry or a soup kitchen. Which is it?
The Tact Meal Center down in Taunton, Taunton area community table. And I recently had a show of work. It was kind of a small boutique type show, and I was able to give 5% of the proceeds to Tact. So that made me really happy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
well,
it was all good.
She's a great person. You can all tell that. Thank you so much for watching. Allison, thank you again for being this
Thank
wonderful
you.
guest. And to all of the viewers, this is Priscilla Almquist Olsen saying, until we meet again, be well.